Alright guys, so here it is. What's going on guys? Welcome to Po Boys, and in this video we are going to be rewiring the LS swap. I'm going to show you how to wire your cars a little bit cleaner, but I'm going to show you how I do it, so take it for what it's worth. We have the entire setup for this car right here. I have some nice wiring, I have all the connectors, I have a tool to do the crimping on them, all of the heat shrink and loom, new battery connects, which are quick disconnect. Kind of interesting, but at the same time, really useful. So I think I'm gonna try those out, see how that goes. Wire in these new Auxbeam RGB lights to complement the light bar that we have down here. So once that's all done, I'll show you all the lights, RGB all the way up front with the fog lights working. Should look beautiful. We also are gonna put a fuse box inside the car as well. And since the alternator has been giving us a problem, I've been having problems with the car starting. Every single time I drive the car, it didn't have enough juice to start the car again. So I decided to get a new alternator, and I cleaned the posts on this battery. This is an old battery. These were all corroded. I took a steel wire brush to them and cleaned them up really good. Hopefully we should get rid of our electrical problems. And I want to say I already took out the alternator, and I found out that that was 100% my problem. Listen to this. That is no bueno. So we're going to replace it with this nice one right here that you can see does not have any problems, and will probably charge the car at 13 volts like it should, like that one wasn't. Somehow this little excess power battery was keeping the car running for multiple road trips, and props to it, but it couldn't start the car. We're gonna go ahead and fix those problems right now. It's raining, so I'm gonna go ahead and hurry. So I have the car taken apart here, and it looks kind of dirty, so don't judge me now, but it's gonna be clean later. I got this wiring on Amazon, which is actually pretty nice, and I hooked up one heat shrink connector just to see what it would look like. I'm gonna add wire loom to it as well, but for right now, I just wanted to see how it would look with those crimps that I have, and it's gonna work pretty well. So I went ahead and ran the hot wire, and I'm going to put the battery right here. I ran the power wire right here, and we're gonna have that connect right there onto the new battery terminals, and we're gonna go ahead and get all that running smooth. So I'm gonna run a ground to the chassis, and then I'm also going to run from block to chassis as well. I have this wire going through the firewall and connected to the starter. I haven't heat shrinked or loomed any of this stuff. I'm just getting it fit up for cutting sizes. Now I'm gonna make a wire that goes from the starter to the car's fuse box, so that way all the stock controls work on the car. So with the wire, it's pretty simple. Pretty much just grab a knife, spin it around. All right, now let's cut all the way around, pull it off. Here's the fuse box post for the positive 12 volt. I'm gonna go ahead and put this eyelet on it. So this is the eyelet we need for the setup. So we connect these. I went ahead and bought this wire crimper. It's a small gauge wire crimper, and it's on Amazon for like 10 bucks or something like that. You just set the wire inside of it and you hit it with a hammer. I'm gonna go ahead and do that real quick. Line it up straight. Now that is what you call a crimped wire. That's not going anywhere. Can't pull that off even if I tried. I'm gonna put some heat shrink tube on it, then we're gonna measure the other side. You guys have seen regular wire loom before. This is 1/2-inch wire loom that you can get on Amazon. I think it was like $7.99 for 25 foot of it. It came out pretty good. You can actually get this different weave right here. It's called red weave, so you can see that it's a positive wire whenever you're looking at it in the car. This one is going to go directly to the battery. The battery connection is one of these styles, so I'm gonna cut that and crimp it off right there, and then connect that to the battery, probably a little over here, closer to this direction. And then this wire is going to go from the starter to the fuse box right here. So it's going to go essentially like yonder, and then that's going to go down and connect to the starter. This one's going to go from the starter to the battery inside the car. Yo,
what's going on?
Nothing much. Wire in the car. Look how this came out.
Sheesh.
Battery cables.
Please.
So this one's going to be connected to this right here, so it's not plugged yet, but this one has a connector on it.
That's clean, bro.
Came out fairly okay.
It looks good.
Thank you. Hola, cat. How do you, cat? So right here is a 12 volt wire that is running to the back of the car, and this wire is going from the firewall, and it's going to go under the carpet and to the battery terminal over here. Cat machine. Well, we have this thing pretty much wired up, and I cleaned it up. There's a lot of zip ties, don't judge me there, but I'd rather have things held down than not. I made a common ground there. I'm gonna make something special right here for a fuse box for all of my accessories, but all of my main wiring is in, the alternator is in, everything should be ready to go, and the car essentially could be ready for a start right now. We have everything connected, and I don't know if anything's working right now. I'm gonna go ahead and put the key in.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, okay, so we've got electricity. That's crazy how that works. Well, it works. Well, that's perfect. And because I don't have the belt plugged in, because I think what may have killed that alternator is the belt being too tight. So I'm gonna get a looser belt because the belt that we have is showing signs of wanting to stretch out on some of these edges. It's flared out on the sides and it's also like fraying apart. I think this belt was begging for mercy, so we're gonna put a bigger belt on it and hopefully save the alternators from dying. It starts up, so I gotta do accessory wiring next. So this is all the stuff we took out of the car, and it looks pretty ugly compared to the stuff we put in. So I've got the car all lifted up right now, and I've also got something right here, which is called a cutout. I'm gonna go ahead and use this cutout right here. It was sent to me by SPE Labs, so thank you very much for them sending me that. I don't only just have one, I have two. But in order to fit it on my exhaust of my car, it's 3-inch, and fitting 3-inch exhaust on this car is super freaking hard with keeping it low. So I cut this out. I literally just took a Sawzall and cut basically straight down into here and then cut a line that way, and it had me come up with something like this. So I'm gonna make that cut on this one right here, and I'll be able to fit it under my car. This is the exhaust under my car. Since it is so low and it actually scrapes, we've got evidence of it scraping right there, I've got to fit the exhaust in a weird way. I cut it like so, and I'm gonna put it right here on the bend. It fits perfectly fine like that. It's not going to touch or rub, hopefully. And if that's the case, then we're gonna go ahead, weld this thing in and cut this out. So now we've got to gut this part of the pipe out. We'll be able to have cutouts, which I've been wanting for the longest amount of time. So thank you to SPE Lab for sending these out. I'm gonna go ahead and throw them on so we can finally hear the engine. I know y'all have been saying, why would you make it quiet? Because I wanna be able to press a button and have it quiet or loud. So I thought ahead. I just cut off the second exhaust cutout from the stock piece that they gave us. I'm gonna go ahead and clean this up because all these edges are really messed up. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this grinder I've got right here, slap a battery in that bad boy, and we're gonna use a wire wheel and clean up all of this right here. Now we've got two clean tips ready to weld on to our exhaust. Maybe I had to customize it a little bit, but at least we got it done. All right, so I got that new piece fitted on there. All I did was literally just fit it in place. And if you could tell, it fits perfect. There's no holes, there's no gaps or anything along the line since it's inside of a bend. It's a little bit of a radius cut. What I'm gonna do is mark the outside. This is basically where my weld is gonna go. There we go. Everywhere inside of here we'll be able to use, and everywhere outside we will not. And now that should be good enough to pull off. And I've got a spot where I can weld that on now. All right, guys, so this might not make much sense to you, but this is the outside of the cutout where the outside of the exhaust is going to fit. This is the weld line, essentially. So the weld line sits here. I'm going to cut out basically everything inside of the second circle. Let me go ahead and start cutting this out, and hopefully we'll have a hole so we can have cutouts. All right, so this is the cut I made, and it should pop right out. So I'm gonna go ahead and take that. This was just done with a cutting wheel. I'm gonna go ahead and take a grinding wheel, and now I'm gonna grind that a little bit better. This is the hole I came up with, and I have it cleaned up. Should be pretty good, and this is pretty much all we're gonna need. So I've got the remote to open up the cutouts. This is a 12-volt power source, and it's connected to the cutouts control system. So if I open this, it should open the cutouts. So the exhaust is gonna go through, and it's gonna bypass that whenever it's closed, so it's gonna go through the mufflers and all that fun stuff. But whenever it is ready to go and open, it will roar and the engine will sound loud as crap. So I think that's a win for this. And this is what it looks like from the other end as well. Closing it now, no exhaust goes by, open it up, and it is perfect. So it looks like our fitment is going to be good. I'm gonna go ahead and tack this in place and get the other side done, and we'll have two cutouts on this thing, and yo boy po boy will be freaking happy. And just like that, piece number 2 is out, ready to go. All you gotta do is grind it down and then clean it up with a wire wheel right here, and she'll be done. I'll go ahead and grind it down. I got it tacked in place. Now I'm gonna go ahead and clean it up with that wire brush. All right, well, I've got it all cleaned off, ready to go. Now we should be able to put a good bead of weld on there. I'm gonna go ahead and do that, and I'll be back once it's welded. All right, cutouts. They're welded, they're ready to go. They're on the car. They don't look the prettiest on the weld side, but I was welding them literally on this little table in my truck, and it's kind of windy today, so wasn't getting the best welds, but we got welds. So we're gonna go ahead, throw this on the car. They're a little bit slanted to the side, but there's a reason for that, and it's because it fits better. So let's go ahead, install them, and see how they go. All right, guys, so now I've got a lot more things I need to do to get this thing ready to go. We have the heater cables. One's 5/8 inner diameter, one is 3/4 inner diameter. That's gonna be for my heater core, and these are going to give me heat. This is a belt because the one I currently have is a little bit too small, so I got one an inch bigger, so it's not pulling on the pulley drive and alternator system as much. Hopefully it keeps everything alive. This is a battery tie down, fuse for my amp, crush washer for an oil change, vacuum lines so I can make my HVAC controls work. This is for the amp right here. I'm putting it in amp and in sub. We have a pump right here for the diff fluid, and we have an oil change and coolant change. So we're gonna go ahead, get this thing ready to go. I also forgot these right here are the wiper relays. So we're gonna have wipers in the car again. I'm trying to make this thing like a car because I'm taking it on a road trip. So let's see what we can get done. All right, I got the oil changed, and here's the coolant right here bleeding itself down. I'm going to go ahead and get everything done. The heat is now connected to the car. I have those two lines connected. So I just connected the two lines that went straight there. So now we should have heat in the car. I also connected this vacuum line with a male-to-male nipple right there, vacuum nipple. And now I have vacuum that comes from this right here. Normally the AC condenser lines are there, but I accidentally ripped mine out whenever I pulled it out of the car. So at least I'll be able to have all of my vacuum functions working in the cabin so I can move around my AC vents and all that. So I'll have a full working heater in the car, not AC yet, but it's really cold, so I really only need a heater for this trip. And now let's just get coolant the rest of it. We got the oil changed, everything looked good. And I also put fluid in the diff. So I've got the drift car on right now and we are warming it up. I've got it to 160 degrees with the heat on, and oh my gosh, it's actually hot. That's crazy. I'm happy. We actually have heat in this thing. It looks like this might be a more enjoyable ride now. It's gonna be a long trip. So we got AC in. I changed the street tires on the back now because the other ones aren't street tires. Well, it's good. Getting it ready. I'm letting it get up to temperature right now. It's about to open the thermostat in a second. 168 degrees. You feel that?
Oh, that bitch is blowing.
Yeah, so now she's got heat. I'm happy about that. It's still bubbling a little bit. We're gonna keep letting it bubble for a little bit longer, but everything sounds really good. The motor sounds good. Oh yes. All right guys, so here it is. It's not too bad, not too shabby. Fuel pressure is still at 60, oil pressure's at 56, battery's charging at 14.3, coolant is at 177. We have heat in the car, baby. Let's go. All right, guys, so we're walking through the shop right now. The shop is, in fact, my dining room, but it's all good. Don't worry about anything here. We have a box from Auxbeam, and this is going to really clean up the car. If you want to get this, the product is listed below, and it really will help you if you want to do wiring, because a lot of people that do wiring put in relays, and this gets rid of everything. This is 8 relays and switches all in one, and you can connect it even with your phone. It's got everything you need to install it. Let's go ahead and show you what comes in the box. So first off, what is really cool is this right here. This is the switch panel itself. And you can see they're all really crisp buttons. It's RGB, it can change colors. The switch is actually fairly small, so it's not that big, but it's gonna be perfect for the interior of the car because I'll have 8 switches right here, and it will be really nice, not have to worry about anything being unclean. We're gonna make this thing look clean because that's the focus of the video, making the drift car clean. So here is the switch assembly itself. This is what is going to connect to all the wires and make everything work. Positive, ground, this is gonna be your switch, and this is going to be the triggered 12 volt to turn the whole system on. It also comes with some extra fuses and a fuse puller. You don't need relays when you connect your accessories. All of the relays are inside of here. That's the big plus of this thing. For the main power, there's a main power fuse, and it's a 60 amp, and if it breaks, you can reset it yourself without having to change the fuse. It's actually really nice. So now that the box is out of the way, here is everything that comes with the panel. Here's all the buttons you can have. There's a whole bunch of different options here from things that you can choose from. You open this up, and that's what it looks like inside the fuse box with your extra things. Your main power fuse, the switch panel itself, 2 different mounts, a sticker, mounts for the switch assembly right here. These are extensions for it, so it's only 1 wire. If I need it to be longer, I have these 2 extra extensions. Comes with a screwdriver. This is the 12 volt tap that's going to connect to these 2 taps right here. So this connects to this, and that goes to key on 12 volt. The cover, zip ties, user manual, hardware, main wires, and mounts for everything. So that is what comes in the kit. Let's get it on the car. Auxbeam has been a longtime sponsor of the channel and a longtime sponsor of a lot of cars we've had. Thank you very much to them because I love their products. Never had a problem with them. They've only done me really good, and it seems like they're only getting better. So thank you, Auxbeam. So this is the current switch setup I have, and it's really not anything special. It's hardwired to 12 volts, so this is always on, and these lights and all these fuses are always on, which puts a draw on the battery, which isn't good for the car. I've known that I needed to change this, but I've also known that this was coming in. I put some heat shrink on the wire that they gave me, and it looks a little bit more like the ones that I have now. So that's gonna go around this area, and that's gonna connect to the fuse, inline fuse that's 12 volt, and that is going to have a lot better connection. So what we're gonna do is pull this off, unscrew this from this little bracket right here, and then mount this bracket right where this goes. So this is what it looks like before. So now that the engine bay is completely together, we have it to where the wiring harness is now all custom wires and everything's there. I went ahead and replaced the spark plug wires as well. And now we have this little system right here where we have the internal fuse for the Auxbeam relay box and a main wire going into that. It looks really good. We have all the fuses in there. We only have a few things plugged in, but we're gonna get more as we go in. Intercooler pump, methanol injection, all that fun stuff will go on this. So right now we have main negative, main positive, signal wire, and this snakes and goes through the firewall up there and then goes to the switch panel that I have mounted in the car, which I'll show you. And inside of here we have the switch panel, which the switch panel works really well, has backlighting, and we can switch it RGB and use your app on your phone. That basically means that this is going to be able to control all of my lights up front and everything electrical that I need to control. So things are going to be a lot easier. Here is the Auxbeam light as well as the Auxbeam light bar, and they're both RGB. I wish I could show you all changing them, but I actually am recording on my phone, so I can't actually change these while I'm recording, but they look freaking good. I have them set to this color right now, but I'm going to set them to a different color just so you can see that they can change colors. So here's a different lighting combo, and as you can see, the lights look really cool. They use two different colors, so they have different modes and whatnot, so it's actually really cool. I want to get some different headlights retrofitted, so if y'all have any ideas of better ways to get projectors inside these and then also keep the LED strips somehow, some way, I want to do that and do something custom and make these headlights nice. So if anyone has any options or ideas, please let me know in the comment section below. So the headlights and fog lights. Then I have this set to green because my background inside the car is green. So I went ahead and switched this one to green as well, so everything matched. So now we got headlights, fog lights, the LEDs. Wow. So this car now has full lights up front, and we got to match this right here. So this is a little bit blue, so I need to get new switchbacks. I need to do some LED stuff up front, but either way, the Auxbeam switch thing works perfect, and I even have my horn wired up to it too. I don't want to do it too loud. I don't want to do the horn in this video, but I will do it next video. But I do want to tell y'all, thank you very much for watching the video. We got this thing dialed in. If you don't realize, I'm actually in Georgia right now filming this outro, but we got some crazy stuff coming for the next video. I'm about to take it on my first road trip, and then we got a whole bunch of stuff coming for this car. So y'all stay tuned. We got a lot of content coming soon. Subscribe. Have a good one. Remember to freaking send it.